talking to the Prime Minister about it, and we'll see how that turns out. We have a very good dialogue going, and I think he was very happy about how we treated them on tariffs.
Last night, the President of the United States acted for his country, and that is his mandate. Today, I will act in Britain's interests with mine.
When will Great Britain really stand up to American bullying?
Look, the United Kingdom, like France, is a great maritime nation. We are a nation that believes in open trade. And I regret the return to protectionism in the United States, something that we've not seen for nearly a century. As you know, we are consulting with business and industry at this time. We are engaged in discussions with the United States to strike an economic agreement and an economic deal. And of course, we have been absolutely clear that all options are on the table as we ensure the national interests of the British people, who will be very concerned at this time about how this affects the bottom line for them and their economic welfare. We will put their national interests first, and it's in their national interests to be negotiating with the United States an economic agreement at this time, but keeping all options on the table.
The big story is, of course, the tariffs that have been introduced by the Trump administration. All the forecasts suggest that your fiscal headroom is likely to be eaten away by those tariffs. When are you going to admit to people that there's more bad economic news to come and that you may have to increase taxes or cut public spending?
Well, of course, we don't want to see tariffs on UK exports, and we're working hard as a government in discussion with our counterparts in the US to represent the British national interest and support British jobs and British industry. Those conversations are ongoing at the moment, but we're determined to get the best deal we can for our country.
How are those negotiations going? Is there a time frame for roughly how long it may take? Is it weeks, days, months, years?
I'm not going to give a running commentary on those discussions. They've been ongoing since our Prime Minister Keir Starmer had a successful visit to the White House to meet President Trump just a few weeks ago. Those conversations are ongoing. We want to do everything in our power, and we'll continue to do everything in our power to get the best possible deal for British industry, working closely with them to protect prosperity and jobs here in the UK.
You said you aren't confident that the UK could get a trade deal that would necessarily eliminate tariffs. Just to clarify, do you think that's because President Trump isn't willing, or do you think that's because Keir Starmer isn't able to get such a deal?
It's difficult without being inside the negotiations to work out exactly where these issues have settled, but what's clear is that we've got 10% tariffs, and that's deeply damaging to the Scottish economy, and every effort has got to be made to avoid an additional barrier being put in place that will make it more difficult and more expensive for us to trade with the United States, which of course represents a very significant market for Scotland. What we've got to recognise, and nobody should be under any doubt whatsoever, this is a deeply damaging moment for the economy, and it will have an effect on jobs in Scotland, it will have an effect on our economic prospects, it will have an effect on our ability to generate the wealth that allows us to invest in our public services. So all of these implications are very significant for Scotland as a consequence of the announcement of the tariffs that was made yesterday. The responsibility for negotiating trade deals between the United Kingdom and the United States rests with the UK government, and I'm not going to get in the road of those negotiations. It's their responsibility. They've got to fix it. What I can do is I can use my time to attract investment directly into Scotland. And that's what I'm going to do. So I've got a series of discussions around a range of sectors: financial services, offshore energy, food and drink, the financial services sector, and I will be using those discussions, digital technology as well, to make sure that I attract into Scotland direct investment. That's the best thing I can do to try to support the growth and investment of the Scottish economy. Now, what we've got in Scotland is a long track record of success in foreign direct investment. Indeed, we're the highest performing part of the United Kingdom, other than London and the South East, for foreign direct investment. So that's what my focus is, to make sure I actually get the investment into Scotland, and the UK government needs to sort out its responsibilities for international trade.
The UK has a strong and balanced trading relationship with the US, worth £315 billion, which supports over 2.5 million jobs across both our countries. This is second only to the EU, where our trading relationship is worth £791 billion. Yesterday evening, the United States announced a 10% reciprocal tariff on UK exports and have today imposed a 25% global tariff on cars. This follows the application of tariffs of 25% on US imports of steel, aluminium and derivative products that was announced on the 12th of March. No country was able to secure an exemption from these announcements, but the UK did receive the lowest reciprocal tariff rate globally. And though this vindicates the pragmatic approach this government has taken, we know that while these tariffs are still being levied, the job is far from done. We are, of course, disappointed by the increase in tariffs on the UK and on other countries around the world. The impact will be felt amongst all trading nations. Madam Deputy Speaker, in increasingly insecure times, I have heard some members cling to the security of simple answers and loud voices. And I understand the compulsion, but I caution members of this House to keep calm and remain clear-eyed on what is in our national interest, not to simply proclaim that we follow the actions of other countries. The British people rightly expect this government to keep our country secure at home and abroad. An unnecessary, escalating trade war would serve neither purpose. True strength comes in making the right choices at the right time. And thanks to the actions of our Prime Minister, who has restored Britain's place on the world stage, the UK is in a unique position to do a deal where we can and respond when we must. It remains our belief that the best route to economic stability for working people is a negotiated deal with the US that builds on our shared strengths. However, we do reserve the right to take any action we deem necessary if a deal is not secured. To enable the UK to have every option open to us in future, I am today launching a request for input on the implications for British businesses of possible retaliatory action. This is a formal step necessary for us to keep all options on the table. We will seek the views of UK stakeholders over 4 weeks until the 1st of May 2025 on products that could potentially be included in any UK tariff response. I know this will be an anxious time for all businesses, not just those with direct trade links to America. And let me say very clearly that we stand ready to support businesses through this. That starts by making sure they have reliable information. And any business which is concerned about what these changes mean for them can find clear guidance and support on great.gov.uk, where there is now a bespoke web page. Madam Deputy Speaker, this government was elected to bring security back to working people's lives. And at a time of volatility, businesses and workers alike are looking to the government to keep our heads, to act in our national interest, and to navigate Britain through this period. And while some urge escalation, I simply will not play politics with people's jobs. Yeah. This government will strive for a deal that supports our industries and the well-paid jobs that come with them, while preparing our trade defences and keeping all options on the table.
Well, thank you for joining me in Downing Street today. Last night, the President of the United States acted for his country, and that is his mandate. Today, I will act in Britain's interests with mine. I understand how important this is for your businesses, as it is for the British people. So we move now to the next stage of our plan. Decisions we take in coming days and weeks will be guided only by our national interest. in the interests of our economy, in the interests of businesses around this table, in the interests of putting money in the pockets of working people. Nothing else will guide me. That is my focus. Now, clearly there will be an economic impact from the decisions that the US has taken, both here and globally. But I want to be crystal clear. We are prepared. Indeed, one of the great strengths of this nation is our ability to keep a cool head. I said that in my first speech as Prime Minister, and that is how I govern. That is how we have planned, and that is exactly what is required today. Nobody wins in a trade war. That is not in our national interest. We have a fair and balanced trade relationship with the US, negotiations on an economic prosperity deal, one that strengthens our existing trading relationship. They continue, and we will fight for the best deal for Britain. I will only strike a deal if it is in our national interest, and if it is the right thing to do for the security of working people, protects the pound in their pocket that they work so hard to earn for their family. That is my priority. That is always my priority. So today marks a new stage in our preparations. We have a range of levers at our disposal, and we will continue our work with businesses across the country to discuss their assessment of the options. As I say, our intention remains to secure a deal, but nothing is off the table. We have to understand that just as with defence and security, so too for the economy and trade, we are living in a changing world, entering a new era. We must rise to this challenge, and that is why I've instructed my team to move further and faster on the changes I believe will make our economy stronger and more resilient. Because this government will do everything necessary to defend the UK's national interest, everything necessary to provide the foundation of security that working people need to get on with their lives. That is how we have acted and how we will continue to act, with pragmatism, cool and calm heads focused on our national security.
Hello, I haven't seen you in a while.
Good to see you, sir.
$5 million. For $5 million, this could be yours. That was the first of the cards. You know what that card is?
Gold card.
It's the gold card. The Trump card, gold card.
Who's the first buyer?
Me.
Who's the second?
I don't know, but I'm the first buyer. It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks, probably. Pretty exciting, right?
First, we'd love to get your reaction, sir, to what's going on in the financial markets today.
Well, I mean, it's to be expected. This is a patient that was very sick. We really inherited a terrible economy, as you know, with a lot of problems, including loss of manufacturing and plants closed up all over the country. You know, we've lost 90,000 plants since NAFTA, if you think of that. 90,000, it's not even believable. And about 6 million jobs. And so it was a sick patient. It went through an operation on Liberation Day. And it's going to be a booming country, a very booming country. It's going to be amazing, actually. And we see it because we have trillions of dollars committed to come in, trillions.
Sir, can I ask you, when you say that it was an operation and the patient's healthy now, does that mean you see us as kind of towards the high water mark in terms of how high?
Sure. The operation's over, and now we let it settle in. You see the plants are starting to construction already. We have many plants.
Are you negotiating with partners currently?
What we have is a set of tariffs based on what they've been charging us. That's reciprocal. And those tariffs have come in every country's called us. That's the beauty of what we do. We put ourselves in the driver's seat. If we would have asked some of these countries, almost most of these countries, to do us a favor, they would have said no. Now they'll do anything for us. But we have tariffs, they've been set, and it's going to make our country very rich.
Have you given your approval for the UK's deal over the Chagos Island that Prime Minister Starmer and you discussed?
We're talking to the Prime Minister about it, and we'll see how that turns out. We have a very good dialogue going. And I think he was very happy about how we treated them on tariffs.
A lot of people were upset today about how their 401ks were doing. Do you have investments? Were you looking at them?
I think our markets are going to boom. We've got to give it a little chance, but we're taking in jobs, and we're taking in industry, and we're taking in trillions of dollars. I think our markets are going to boom. We've got to give it a little bit of time, but they've already started construction on numerous plants. Soon it'll be many, many plants all over the country. They're going, and so you got to give that a little time. No, I haven't checked my 401k. Thank you very much.